The movie starts where two lesbians walks in the alley and suddenly they faced with bunch of idiots and haters, the ones who don't accept LGBTQ community. One of them attacks Meg, and she pushes her down the stairs, and while she was lying on the ground, several of them trying to trample her on the foot, but Kyla just crying and couldn't do anything. Times passed, and after 1 year we saw Meg in the airport. She was still dealing with that event that had happened to her a year ago and was trying to do meditation and relaxation using an app on her phone. When she was leaving the airport, she accidentally saw Kayla, which caught her off guard since they had distanced themselves after an incident that happened to Meg. She didn't expect to see her, and this move was orchestrated by Meg's friends in an attempt to potentially mend the relationship between Kyla and Meg. On the way, Meg had to put up with Kayla, but suddenly the car hit the brakes, leaving Meg, still reeling from the incident she had just gone through, terrified. They were actually invited to their friend's wedding ceremony and arrived at the beautiful location. Soon, Cam and Lizzie joined them, with Lizzie filled with excitement for her own upcoming wedding. As they reached the beach with a special car driving along the shore, they saw their other friend, Ruth. At a party, Dominic, Lizzie's fiancé, openly expressed his love for Lizzie and wished them happiness in their marriage. During a nighttime gathering with friends, everyone danced together. The next day, Cam visited Meg and urged her to wake up early for a boat trip. Arriving at the dock, they discovered it wasn't a luxurious ship as expected due to Cam's budget. Boarding the ordinary boat, Cam confiscated their phones and sailed them to a remote island. Cam dropped Meg and Kayla off first, on purpose hoping they'd resolve their issues while they left them for somewhere else. When Meg and Kayla are alone, they find it challenging at first to converse comfortably. Kayla keeps herself busy building a sandcastle while their other friends are elsewhere on the island soaking up the sun. Meanwhile, Cam is wearing a diving suit and exploring underwater. As Meg talks to Kayla, both of them swim in the water, and suddenly the wing of a shark is seen above the water for a few seconds. When Ruth was playing with Cam, suddenly Meg and Kayla appeared, holding hands as if they had resolved their issues and made peace to bring joy to their friends, especially Liz, who was getting married. While Ruth was happily dancing in the water, she felt something attacking her feet, but didn't realize until the water turned red with blood. She started screaming, and Cam rushed towards her to pull her out of the water, but when she emerged, her back foot was severely injured and bleeding heavily. While Ruth was bleeding profusely, Cam tried to wrap her with Lizzie's scarf, and then they took hold of her hands and feet, bringing her into the boat so they could get their friend to an emergency medical center as soon as possible. Kayla attempted to call emergency services with her phone, but there was no signal. Lizzie sat behind the boat's helm and started it, but due to the urgency, she accelerated quickly despite Cam telling her to slow down. Suddenly, the boat collided hard with tall coral reefs in the water, causing it to break and puncture. Despite their attempt to cover the damaged part of the boat, water quickly entered and nearly filled it. Meanwhile, Lizzie, who was terrified of water and unable to swim, was panicking in a corner, unable to help her friends. Kayla managed to find one life jacket and used it for Ruth. As the water engulfed the entire surface of the boat, they had to gather their injured friend and everyone swam while the boat sank. As the boat went completely under, they all kept swimming and holding Ruth. Unfortunately, Kayla lost her last hope of getting a signal and dropped her phone into the water. Lizzie, unable to swim, forced herself to stay afloat with the help of a swimmer tool. While they were in the middle of the sea, they noticed two large sharks circling around them. Cam pulls out his knife to defend himself and the others in case they decide to attack. At that moment, they suddenly realize that their friend Ruth's body has gone cold and she is no longer breathing, having lost her life due to severe bleeding. They decide to bid farewell to their friend, and they take off her life jacket and release her into the water. However, at the same time as the body continued to bleed, a shark swims towards it and completely devours their friend's body. Kayla tells her friends she can rescue drowning people and swim well. She goes alone for some help in bringing a rescue team and tells them to stay here. Later, Lizzie blames Cam for their predicament. Suddenly, two sharks approach. Lizzie screams to noticing them about the danger, but one shark injures Cam slightly. Cam grabs a knife and swims alone, attempts to fight back, but the shark surprises her from behind and suddenly fatally attacks her from below and kills her. After the incident, Lizzie and Meg realize they are alone and start embracing each other, crying. They try to stay awake and keep each other alert by talking. Suddenly, they spot a luxurious cruise ship in the distance. They scream and wave their hands, but the ship doesn't stop for them. They feel unseen and passed by. Lizzie cries and feels hopeless, but then she talks about a special dish they were supposed to serve at her wedding, a rare and expensive fish that tasted really good. They stay together like this until night falls and it starts raining. They are amazed by the rain in this situation, holding each other until Meg falls asleep and dreams of Kayla. However, when she wakes up in the morning, she finds herself alone and cannot locate Lizzie. Despite no one knowing about Lizzie's strange fate, the likelihood of her drowning seems high. She is the only one left alive and still waiting for help, with little hope as she swims. Suddenly, a shark emerges in front of her and attacks, but fails to bite her, only injuring her. Then she notices a rock platform nearby where she could take refuge. Realizing she needs to soak her bloodied life jacket and throw it towards another part of the sea to deceive the shark and escape, she manages to reach the crucial rock platform just in time with the shark behind her. She positions herself on the rock, treating her injured hand wounded by the sharp edge of the rock with a band from her own clothes, and rests there for a moment. However, the blood from her hand attracts the shark towards her, but she lifts her hand just in time, wakes up, and stands on the rocky platform as the tidal waves cause the rock platform to sink into the water. Suddenly, at that moment, he sees his former love, or better say his ex-love, Kayla, riding a rescue boat, shouting, "Come towards me!" Even though the sharks have surrounded Meg, she jumps into the water with the shark rapidly approaching behind her. Just as the shark is about to attack the boat up close, she manages to find safety. Kayla grabs her hand, rescuing her, and she all rejoice when see her. Then Kayla asks about everyone else's fate. Meg says that no one found rescue and shows her the wristbands of their friends. Finally, the movie comes to an end with a happy ending for lesbians.